When a broke girl saved an old man in the rain, the rich son's brutal revenge haunts forever. The rain poured down like God was angry, hammering the streets of Crestwood. It was the kind of storm that flooded gutters and made sidewalks disappear under waves. Amidst the chaos, a shadow shivered in the downpour. Her name was Ellie, and her soaked clothes clung to her skin, matching the sense of desperation etched on her face. She was broke, barely scraping by. But when she spotted that old man, stumbling on the slick pavement, something pure sparked inside her chest. As she lunged forward, the world faded, and all she could hear was her heartbeat mingling with the thunder. With a fierce grip, Ellie caught the old man just before he slipped into the torrent. His eyes widened, reflecting a horrifying mix of disbelief and gratitude. She pulled him close, feeling his frail body tremble like a leaf against her own soaked frame. "I've got you," she whispered, fighting the icy chill creeping through her bones. But a deep, foreboding sensation danced at the back of her mind. Who was he? He looked as if he belonged in a mansion, not on this dangerous street corner. A glimpse at his watch revealed it glimmered like the sun, a shock against the muted colors of the storm. As the rain lightened, the old man mumbled something, his voice barely rising above the rumble of the clouds. "You don't know what you've done." His gaze flickered over her, wide and fearful. "He'll come for you, he always does." That chill in Ellie's spine intensified, worming its way into her gut. What had she just gotten herself into? Then, without warning, the shadows shifted. A figure loomed at the edge of the street, eyes sharp as knives slicing through the fog. Ellie's heart raced. Was he the one the old man feared? The rich son? The very idea made her stomach churn. The man she saved seemed to shuttle their breaths into the air and wrap around them like a shroud. The storm had subsided, but tension crackled thickly between them like an electric charge just waiting to ignite. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up." Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the menacing figure took a step forward, Ellie's breath caught. A smirk curled on his lips, chilling her to the bone. This was no ordinary confrontation. This was the beginning of a nightmare she never saw coming. The old man clutched her arm, desperation flooding his voice. "You need to hide. He won't let this go." Was he warning her? Pleading for her life? As Ellie's eyes darted back to the looming shadow, everything inside her screamed to run. But where could she go? The storm had passed, but dark clouds still loomed overhead, a reminder that this was just the start. What did the rich son have planned? Could she escape his vicious grip, or was she already tangled in a web she couldn't escape? Panic surged through Ellie like the storm that had just rolled away. She glanced at the old man beside her, his sunken cheeks pale beneath the flickering streetlight. In his eyes, she saw mirrored dread. As the figure approached, the weight of the moment felt unbearable, each heartbeat echoing the urgency to flee. She was far from safe. "What do you want?" she stammered, her voice barely rising above the remaining drizzle. The rich son chuckled, a low, menacing sound that sent a shiver racing down her spine. "You think I want anything from you, sweet girl?" His smirk was laced with twisted amusement. He looked her up and down, as if sizing her up, weighing her worth in the cruel currency of his world. "Oh, but you've made a big mistake tonight." She swallowed hard, desperately searching for an escape route. The streets were empty now, slick and reflective. There was no one to help her. She felt trapped between the old man's frailty and the rich sinner's intent, two worlds colliding in the downpour. "Ellie," the old man rasped, gripping her tighter. "You don't understand what this family is capable of. They'll stop at nothing." Silence. The sun roared, his voice slicing through the air like a jagged knife. "You're in no position to talk. He resumed his slow, deliberate approach, each step measured, predatory. "Please," Ellie whispered, clinging to the remnants of her courage. "Just let us go." "Oh darling, it's too late for that," he replied, his tone dripping with mock sympathy. "You've caught his interest. That means you're in the game now." There was a sinister glint in his eyes. "But don't worry, I can make this quick if you cooperate." Vertigo spun her vision. "Game?" The old man's warning echoed like a haunting mantra in her mind. "What game? What do you want from me?" The words slipped out, a frantic plea echoing against the hollow night that he chuckled again, a sound that felt more like a threat than laughter. "Just a little entertainment." He gestured like a puppet master, sending ripples of dread through her body. "You said you saved him. Let us see how far that bravery really stretches." She looked at the old man, whose eyes now mirrored her fear. This was more than just a confrontation, it was an ominous ultimatum. She could run, but there was nowhere to hide. It was a game she never signed up for but was forced to play nonetheless. The tension coiled around her, tightening with every passing moment. "Do we have a deal?" the rich son asked, stepping forward again. A smile twisted his lips, revealing a predatory nature that made her stomach churn. "Ellie," the old man warned, his voice urgent. "You can't trust him." But before another word could escape, the rich son reached into his coat, pulling out something gleaming. A knife? The moonlight caught it, and for a split second, Ellie saw her reflection wide-eyed with terror. "No!" she screamed, the word tearing from her throat as she instinctively stepped in front of the old man. But the rich son's laughter echoed, drowning out the sound of her heart racing. "If you want to save him, sweet girl, you better be willing to play the part. Or else." Ellie's mind raced, heart pounding. Was there truly a choice? What game was this, that required sacrifice? As the knife inched closer, she realized that this moment of fear was just the beginning. It was a dance between innocence and betrayal, and she was the unwilling lead. What line would she draw in the sand? To save the old man, how far would she have to go? The answers loomed in the stormy shadows, waiting for her to confront them head-on. And as she stood there trembling, fate twisted, hinting that the real game had yet to begin. What price would she pay to escape? Ellie's world shrank as the rich son's knife gleamed like a lighthouse in a storm. The fear coiling in her gut was paralyzing, and with each step he took, it seemed the shadows deepened. "Cooperate and I'll make it painless," he taunted, his voice a silken whisper laced with malice. The old man shivered beside her. She could feel his frail body quaking against her, and it pulled her into a desperate fight for resolve. "What do you mean?" she gasped, her breath hitching. He stopped just within striking distance, the knife glimmering wickedly between them. "You said you saved him, but what have you really given?" Leaning in close, he continued, "Maybe it's time to see just how much you're willing to sacrifice. Play my little game, and the stakes will be oh so much fun." She didn't know what he meant, the air heavy with anticipation and a threat that crackled like electricity. But one thing was sure, he wanted something from her. It had to be more than just entertainment. Panic surged. "I want to do anything you want," she blurted, wishing her voice was stronger, more defiant. But the moment it left her lips, she saw the flicker of amusement in his eyes. "Ah, I love it when they pretend to be brave," he drawled, feigning an exaggerated yawn. "But bravery without sacrifice? That's just empty noise, my dear." "Stop." The old man's voice broke. "You don't have to do this. Just let us go." The rich son didn't respond. Instead, he chuckled darkly, twirling the knife as if weighing its significance, as if deciding how to truly invoke fear. Ellie's heart raced. "They don't care about your pain, sweetheart," he hissed, his expression darkening. "You might want to rethink your strategies here." With a determined breath, Ellie stepped back, creating space between herself and the knife. The distant rumble of thunder echoed, but her focus remained on the danger ahead. She had to think. Panic wrestled with something deeper inside her, a flicker of hope fighting to ignite. "What do you want from me?" The words tumbled out more confidently this time, as her mind raced for options. The rich sun smiled, and it chilled her to the core. Let us make it interesting, shall we? His voice dripped with seduction and derision. If you can give me a taste of bravery, I'll grant you both a short reprieve. Bring me something valuable, a secret, a choice, perhaps a confession. I promise, the game won't take long. Just enough to keep things exhilarating. That's insane. Ellie shot back, desperation creeping into her voice. You want me to betray someone? I won't do it. Ah, but you will. A satisfied smirk spread across his face. He leaned closer, the knife glinting in the dim light. Let me make this clear, those who refuse to play can end up on the losing side. You wouldn't want that, would you? The old man's life in exchange for just a little sacrifice from you. Isn't that a fair trade? Ellie, the old man rasped, don't listen to him. You don't have to silence. The rich sun barked, silencing the old man with a dangerous glare. Your move, sweet girl. What are you willing to risk? Ellie's heart raced. The weight of the decision loomed like the storm clouds overhead, swirling with chaos. Betrayal or bravery, what path would she choose? The rain started again, lightly at first but quickly growing into a torrential downpour. It felt symbolic, washing over the agony flooding her senses, as she wrestled with the raw reality of her choices. This was no longer just a game, it was a gamble that twisted the very fabric of her soul. Think fast, Ellie. Time's ticking, he sneered, enjoying her despair. Suddenly, amidst the chaos, an idea sparked. Somewhere in her heart, a fierce resolve ignited. She might just have a chance at desperate play, but something to counter the knife he held. As the thunder rumbled louder, she took a steadying breath, ready to confront the unthinkable. But would it be enough to protect herself and the old man? In that moment of trepidation, she asked herself, what was she ready to lose? The answer danced just out of reach as the storm raged on, and the game shifted ominously. The weight of the rich sun's challenge hung in the air like the thick clouds above them. Thunder rumbled ominously as Ellie's heart raced. 1,000 thoughts whirled in her mind, but clarity began to crystallize around a single truth: she had to protect the old man beside her. All right, she said, forcing her voice to remain steady. What do you want? A glimmer of surprise danced in his eyes, quickly followed by predatory delight. Ah, the sweet scent of cooperation. Now we're getting somewhere, he said, stepping slightly back but never losing the knife's threatening position. What are the rules? Ellie pressed, her palms clammy and her breath shallow, each word given with effort. Simple. You confess something dear to you, something you'd rather keep hidden. You can even make it a lie if you'd like. Just give me something that stings. In return, I spare the old man. He tightened his grip on the knife, the steel reflecting the fading light as rain soaked through their clothing. The old man shifted beside her, desperation etched on his face. Ellie, please don't silence. The rich sun thundered, cutting him off with a venomous glare that could turn flesh to ice. Ellie's mind raced. Confess? Her chest tightened as she recalled buried secrets, dark pasts she thought safely hidden. Why would you even care about my secrets? You're not interested in honesty. This is about power, she said, trying to stall for time. Smart girl, he chuckled, a sound void of warmth. But think of it this way. You'll reveal part of your soul, perhaps weighing the scales of fear against something like salvation. Or betrayal, she whispered under her breath, the bitterness biting like the cold wind sweeping around them. Careful now, you wouldn't want to lose your chance to save him. Ellie's mind turned quickly, but in the heat of desperation, an idea crystallized. What if I don't have anything worth a life? She asked, her voice low but firm. Then I might just decide you both should become part of the storm. His smile held no kindness and was instead a cruel invitation to chaos. Glimmers of panic flickered in her chest, but deep down, she felt a spark of defiance. Gathering her courage, she straightened her back. You're nothing but a coward. What's so terrifying about a confession, huh? Are you scared that I'll outshine you with my truth? He paused, intrigued by her sudden boldness. Touché, he said, eyes narrowing. Then give me the juiciest morsel, and I will listen, eager for the thrill. The rain cascaded around them, almost drowning out her heartbeat. Ellie could see how the words he craved danced dangerously on her tongue. If she could twist the narrative, make a gamble that wouldn't lead to bloodshed, maybe she could shield them both. Fine, she said, forcing out a breath, I'll tell you, my greatest fear. Go on, he purred, leaning closer, hungry for the tale. It's failure, she breathed, living my life knowing I couldn't save those I care about. That I failed when it mattered the most. The rich son's expression flickered with interest, something sincere peeking through the monstrous facade. Interesting. But that doesn't quite sting enough, darling. Doesn't it? She shot back, feeling her resolve swell. What if? I confess that I've always been afraid of people like you. Those who think they hold the power to play with lives, just because they can. His smirk faltered, confusion flashing across his face. She had turned the game on him. Ah, but what will the stakes be now? He taunted, still grasping for his upper hand. The rain intensified, creating a deafening roar. In that moment, Ellie realized she had only one shot to maintain her momentum. What if I keep going? What if I speak your name, the name of the monster hiding behind money and privilege? Would that strike a chord? The air thickened with tension, and the rich son's grip on the knife trembled. What did you just say? He demanded, voice low, laced with anger. I'll reveal it all. So what will it be, coward? She challenged, heart pounding as adrenaline numbed her fear. She had lit a fire in the storm, but would it burn bright enough to shield them both, or would it engulf her completely? The old man clutched her arm, eyes wide with hope and terror. While the rich son's face contorted between rage and fascination, Ellie stood her ground. The storm roared louder and wrapped around them, but it felt like the calm before the inevitable crash. Would the game of words save them or plunge them deeper into despair? Something shifted in the rich son's eyes, a flicker of doubt. And as he stared at her, Ellie dared to hope that this was only the beginning of taking back her power, or perhaps unleashing an even darker secret waiting just behind the storm. The rich son's eyes narrowed as he considered her words. The glimmer of doubt danced away, replaced now with an insatiable hunger for dominance. You think you can intimidate me, Ellie? He spat, his voice a knife slicing through the tension. You don't know a damn thing about the kind of darkness I carry. As he leaned closer, Ellie could see the flicker of power in his gaze, juiced by her sudden risk-taking. She fought back the urge to recoil, forcing herself to hold his gaze, steady as the rain pounded harder around them. The storm reflected the tumult within her, a fierce battle of hope against despair. What you really want is for me to crumble, she challenged, pushing her voice through clenched teeth, pooling all her fear, defiance, and an ember of misplaced strength into those words. But you're the one who's afraid. Afraid that if I speak out, others will see the real you. They might not be scared anymore. His jaw clenched, the fury brewing, yet something in his stance shifted. For a fleeting moment, she saw the boy who had everything but still craved more. It was a glimpse of vulnerability buried beneath layers of privilege and entitlement. The vulnerability, however, was quickly smothered by a wave of arrogance. Speak, you may make it out alive, he replied, voice dripping with disdain. But you have no idea what lies in the shadows of my past. I dare you. Bring it to light. The old man beside her gasped, fingers gripping Ellie's arm as he sensed the danger looming. Ellie, stop. Don't provoke him. Panic filled his eyes, brimming with the wisdom of a life lived on the edge. Ignoring his pleas, Ellie felt courage latching onto her words. Fine. You want to know what haunts me? It's knowing that when I was given a chance to rise above, I didn't take it. I let people down when it mattered most, and the rich son erupted, slashing through her confession with a dangerous laugh. You think your failures even compare? Years of consequence drip from family money and blood on my hands. There are still crimes I walk free from. You are nothing but a caged bird whispering helpless songs. I mean to see you fly right into the abyss. The clarity of her fear froze her in place. She thought of her lost opportunities and what had been standing across from her, a monster not afraid of the dark but reveling in it. Every confession sounded cowardly next to the palpable horror of what she faced. "Who are you?" she breathed, words barely cutting through the storm. "What made you this way?" His laugh echoed through the shadows. "Am I the monster, or are you? You stand there deluding yourself into courage. I'm everything you're afraid of, Ellie. I'm the product of this world, and you're just a blip on my radar." The rain beat down, soaking them deeper into their looming confrontation. It began to feel like they were drawn into the heart of the storm, where thunder clashed with every pulse of lightning overhead. "I'm not scared of you." The words slipped out, defiant. "I'm scared of losing the pieces of me that believe in hope." "But what's that compared to the loss you're already familiar with? What have you driven away in your life?" A frenzied intensity flickered in his eyes, but for a heartbeat longer, doubt pulsed beneath the surface. The tension crackled ominously. "Keep pushing, and you'll learn that hope is as weak as the rain you're standing in." He stepped closer, his knife glimmering through the downpour, a reflection of his control. Ellie steeled her heart against the fear coiling around it. Hope surged in her despite the tempest swirling outside. "Maybe, but I'm not alone anymore." "You might think you're the darkness," she shot back, "but I'm the light that's about to expose you." His brows furrowed, a tempest of emotions crashing in his expression: curiosity, anger, something dangerous, and finally, dread. And then, just as he opened his mouth to respond, a blinding flash of lightning illuminated the alleyway, casting monstrous shadows through the rain. Behind Ellie, the old man shifted, revealing a glimmer of metal hidden in his waistband, the unmistakable outline of a weapon. "Ellie, run!" he shouted, but it was already too late. The rich sun lunged. Rainwater pooled at their feet as time bent, and in that moment, everything fell apart. Would Ellie's gamble to expose the rich sun be her salvation or sealing her fate in the storm? What deeper secrets would the old man reveal as they plunged into chaos? Ellie didn't have time to process the old man's warning. The rich sun lunged at her with terrifying speed, his face twisted in a mix of fury and exhilaration. She stumbled back, shouting, instinctively raising her hands to shield herself. "Get away from me!" she yelled, her heart racing like the pounding rain. The old man stepped in front of her, the weapon fully drawn now, its metal glinting like a raw beacon of danger. "Stop!" he commanded, his voice steady but strained, time-laden with history. "This doesn't need to end in violence." But the rich sun's laugh pierced the air, cold and mocking, echoing off the wet alley walls. "You think a rusty old gun can intimidate me?" he sneered, his eyes darting between the weapon and the old man. "You're just an inconsequential has-been trying to protect your little prodigy." It won't work. Without thinking, Ellie lunged at the old man, grabbing his arm, pulling him back. The weapon wavered but stayed steady. "Don't," she pleaded, knowing that any momentary lapse could send this into irrevocable chaos. As they faced off, her defiance didn't falter, it was fueled by desperation. "You're only strong because you've never had to fight. What darkness are you so proud of?" The question hung heavily in the air, drowning out the rain, as she challenged the essence of his bravado. His smirk faltered, just for a second. "You wouldn't understand, Ellie. It's not about fighting. It's about survival. You and your old friend here are like insignificant weeds in my garden." He turned his frame slightly, eyes glimmering with deadly intent. His gaze shifted. "And I'll rip you both out." "Try," she shot back, emboldened by the fear racing through her veins. The rain fell more heavily, cascading down as if the storm were trying to drown out their confrontation. Suddenly, another flash of lightning split the sky. In that moment of illumination, Ellie saw something she hadn't noticed before: a tired, haunted look in the old man's eyes. A wave of realization slapped her. He wasn't just an old man, he was a survivor of a world filled with people like the rich sun, carved and shaped by years of darkness. "Ellie, listen," he started, his voice ragged, but she wasn't ready to let him speak. She didn't want him to give in. "Not now," the rich son stepped closer, his breath hot in the chill of the rain. This old man is nothing. You think you can shield him from me? I'll make you both pay for this little charade. Before she could react, he lunged again, but the old man, fueled by instinct, lifted his weapon. The air crackled with tension. I won't hesitate. Put it down. Ellie screamed, knowing where it could lead. The last thing she wanted was for this confrontation to spiral into bloodshed. A muscle in the rich son's jaw tightened, and the air thickened around them. What's it gonna be? He growled, the light of anger dancing in his eyes. You think you can protect him? You'll regret it. Just then, an ear-splitting crack echoed, forcing Ellie to flinch. The old man had fired, sending the bullet tearing through the air. Time froze as the shot rang out. But it wasn't aimed at the rich son. It struck the ground between them, a warning shot, a visceral reminder of how brittle the line was between life and death. Stop this now. The old man shouted, grounded in conviction. None of us want this. Then let us find out what it costs to stop. The rich son spat back, eyes wild, a feral glint igniting deep within. Ellie's heart raced as she took a breath, trying to find clarity amidst the storm brewing inside her. She felt trapped, caught in the eye of a whirlwind of emotions, unable to predict what would happen next. Would the old man's act break the cycle of violence, or would it escalate the situation beyond control? As the rain continued to pour, so did the doubts. With every second ticking by, Ellie felt the weight of her decision looming larger and larger. Behind the deafening roar of the storm and the suffocating fear, a flicker of hope sparked within her. We can end this. Together, she pleaded, gazing from one to the other. But would her voice drown in the storm, or would it be strong enough to conquer the darkness that threatened to swallow them all whole? The stakes had never been higher as the rich son's laugh echoed in the backdrop of pounding rain, and then, suddenly, the old man's gaze flickered to something behind Ellie. Without warning, he whispered, "Look out." What force lurked in the shadows of this chaos? Would the flicker of hope persist, or would it extinguish under the weight of predatory darkness? Ellie whipped around just in time to see a shadow darting toward her from the darkened alley behind. A figure emerged, silhouetted against the relentless downpour. Heart pounding, she barely registered the mid-teen flick of a knife that glinted maliciously in the dim light. The old man's voice barked out again, "Ellie, get down." His arm shot forward, the gun aimed at the newcomer, but it was too late. The blade soared through the air, glistening with a sharp freedom. Ellie ducked instinctively but felt a rush of air sweep over her like a shriek. The knife hit the ground just inches from her, embedding itself into the wet pavement with a thud that resonated through her bones. A second later, the figure lunged forward. The rich son had stepped back momentarily, shocked at the unfolding chaos. This unexpected ally, a scrappy teenager barely out of childhood, seemed emboldened by the sudden turn of events. "Who are you?" Ellie shouted, voice trembling between fear and confusion. The girl, drenched from the rain and clearly exhibiting the wildness of a cornered animal, grinned widely, her eyes reflecting the same madness as the rich son's. "Just a friend of the fight." She yelled back, pulling another knife from her belt, brandishing it as she approached. "You're not alone anymore." The rich son blinked in shock, his bravado wavering. "More rats coming to that rotting garden?" He taunted, but his voice was less confident now. He was losing control, and that only seemed to provoke the girl more. The air crackled with tension, as if the storm itself were drawing in a breath, waiting for the first spark to ignite the powder keg. If the rain had lashed at them before, it now fell in sheets, creating a cascading curtain of madness around the three of them. The old man shifted. "We need to leave," he insisted, lowering his weapon slightly in a desperate plea. "This isn't our fight. Stop telling us what to do." The teenager snapped back, her rage radiating through the drenched night. "You don't get to dismiss us. You taught her to fight. So fight." Ellie felt a swell of uncertainty. Could she really stand alongside this girl? Or was it just another step deeper into a night filled with chaos? Thunder rolled in the distance, a warning of what lay ahead. "Listen," she interjected, voice trembling but steady. We can't tear each other apart. They want us to, don't you see? Her heart raced as she held the old man's eyes. He nodded slowly, finally comprehending the undercurrent of her words. But the rich son's confidence surged back. You're all just a distraction, he sneered, taking a step forward, assessing them as if weighing a game piece. You think I'm afraid of a bunch of misfits wetting their pants in the rain? With little warning, he lunged, the relentless storm fueling his fury. The girl lashed out, her knife slicing the air in a frantic arc, but she was too slow. Ellie seized the moment, diving into the fray, fueled by a mix of dread and a wild instinct to survive. The impact echoed, bodies clashing, as Ellie struggled to keep the old man behind her. Every second felt loaded, each heartbeat a countdown to destruction. She caught a glimpse of the rich son's twisted smile, a malevolent glee surging in his eyes that he was ready to unleash hell. Then, all at once, the ground gave way under them. A quickening tremor rippled through the pavement, as the rain pooled around their feet and splashed violently, a cruel reminder that nature had its own agenda. Let us end this. Ellie screamed, her voice slicing through the chaos like a lifeline, but before there could be a response, a deafening explosion split the air. The concrete beneath them buckled, and screams drowned out the storm. What just happened? Had the shadows come to claim their debt? Would they all make it out alive, or was it already too late? In the midst of the chaos, Ellie felt her pulse quickening. This wasn't just a fight, it was a reckoning. Darkness clawed closer, wrapped in a shroud of tension, waiting to pull them into its cold embrace. What awaited them on the other side of that violence? Would courage prevail, or would they all succumb to the forgotten echoes of a twisted fate? The deafening noise of the explosion faded into a haunting silence, broken only by the sound of rain cascading down, drenching everything around them. Ellie lay sprawled on the ground, her breath a ragged whisper as confusion surged through her. Where was everyone? The rich son? The girl? The old man? She pushed herself up, her knees shaking under her weight. The alley was a mess of broken concrete and remnants of a night gone horribly wrong. Shadows danced in the dim light, blending with the echoes of chaos. She looked around, squinting through the sleet and darkness. Hey! She called out, her voice hoarse. No answer. Just the drumming of rain and the distant wail of sirens creeping closer. A shiver of dread snaked up her spine. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the wreckage. It was the old man, his face pale and strained, but he was on his feet. Relief washed over Ellie momentarily, but it was cut short as she saw the blood seeping through his shirt. Are you okay? Ellie shrieked, scrambling toward him. I'm fine, he grunted. But his eyes told a different story: panic, urgency. Where's that girl? The one who fought with us? Ellie scanned the chaos again. The alley was now a broken battlefield. The teenager, where had she gone? Over here. A voice pierced through the fog of confusion. The girl crawled toward them, her arm cradled against her chest, a pool of crimson forming around her. No, no. Ellie rushed forward, kneeling beside her. You're hurt. It's just a scratch, the girl winced, but Ellie could see the fear lurking beneath her bravado. Just a scratch? The old man's voice trembled. You need medical attention. Now. You'll have to run fast, then. The girl grinned, though it felt more like a grimace. Trust me, I'm tougher than I look. Ellie's heart pounded. They could not do this alone. The rich son's twisted smile haunted her thoughts. He wouldn't just back down after this. He'd come after them, all of them. Thunder rumbled above them, and Ellie glanced up, feeling the storm's weight weighing down. We need to hide, she said urgently. We'll figure it out. Hide? The old man spat. We can't just hide. He's out there. He's looking for us, the girl said, her voice stronger now despite the pain flickering across her face. We're out in the open here. We need shelter somewhere safe. A flicker of determination ignited within Ellie. There's an old warehouse up the street. We can barricade ourselves inside. Warehouse? The old man asked, skepticism etched into his brow. But the urgency in Ellie's eyes pushed him to relent. Let us go. Now. They helped the girl to her feet. She stumbled but steadied herself, and together they began to move, skirting around fallen debris. The wind whipped around them, a cruel reminder of the night's darkness, seeking to swallow them whole. Every step felt fraught, danger lurking at the edges of their senses. Shadows whispered of chaos just beyond the thin veil of their hideaway. Each heartbeat was a countdown, a haunting rhythm of impending doom. With every inch they took toward the warehouse, Ellie's instinct screamed that this was only the beginning. The rich son wouldn't stop, couldn't stop, he'd want his revenge. As the warehouse loomed before them, she glanced back, scanning the alley, half expecting to see his figure emerging from the shadows. She could feel her heart in her throat, terror clinging to her like the rain-soaked clothes weighing her down. Get in. The old man urged, waving them toward the door. Inside, darkness swallowed them. The air felt thick, heavy with secrets and forgotten memories. Every sound echoed, amplifying their fear. Lock the door. Ellie shouted as the adrenaline surged through her veins. There was no turning back now. Would they be safe here? Or was this just another trap waiting to spring? With shadows closing in, they had to find a way to survive a night filled with ghosts and a revenge-seeking heart. What awaited them behind this door? Would safety bring solace or seal their doom? The door slammed shut behind them, the sound reverberating in the stillness like a gunshot. Ellie's heart raced as she pressed her back against the cool, metal surface, eyes wide as she scanned the dim interior. The only light came from a flickering bulb overhead, casting eerie shadows that seemed to reach for them. Is it locked? The girl gasped, each word turning into mist in the cold air. Ellie looked at the old man as he fumbled with the heavy padlock, his hands shaking. I think it is. Good. The girl leaned against the wall, her breath coming in sharp bursts. We can hold up here for a while. Except, Ellie knew, they might not have a while. The thought of the rich son's relentless pursuit made her stomach churn. She had seen the lengths he was willing to go to. His eyes had burned with a hunger for revenge that sent fear spiraling through her. Let us just breathe for a second, Ellie said, her voice barely above a whisper. She crouched down, pulling the girl close, eyeing the blood still oozing from her arm. What can we do for you? It's just a scrape, I'll manage, the girl dismissed, but the pallor of her skin contradicted her bravado. We need to clean it, the old man interjected, finally managing to lock the thick steel door. I have an old first aid kit back at my place. We'll just have to make it through this. Through what exactly? Ellie shot back, a rush of frustration bubbling to the surface. We don't even know if we're safe. Before the old man could respond, a loud crash echoed from outside, rattling the warehouse walls. They all jumped, hearts pounding as they held their breath. The sound was followed by heavy footsteps, marching with purpose. Shadows moved swiftly past the shattered windows, angry silhouettes dancing against the rain-splattered glass. That's him, the girl whispered, her voice trembling as dread seeped into her words. No, Ellie urged, shaking her head. We need to stay quiet. If he's out there then we can't let him in, the old man interrupted, his expression hardening. They huddled together in the corner, breaths shallow and rapid, piecing together their next move like a puzzle of fear. The old warehouse felt alive, creaking as the storm raged outside. Each unsettling sound intensified the tightness in Ellie's chest. They had escaped one hell, but this new enclosure was heavy with suspense. Why are you two even here? Ellie asked suddenly, turning to the girl. What were you doing when? I was just trying to help, the girl snapped, then winced as pain shot through her arm. Look, it doesn't matter. It's done. It does matter. Ellie shot back, frustration slicing through her worry. Why didn't you run? You could have saved yourself. I couldn't just leave you. The girl yelled, and silence fell, tension spiraled, and Ellie felt the weight of the moment. She took a deep breath, trying to calm her racing heart. Look, right now we need each other. The more we fight, the shorter our chances. They nodded, the anger dissolving as reality settled in three souls against a nightmare safely locked out. But safety was fleeting. The echoes of malevolent laughter loomed in Ellie's mind. She could almost hear it curling through the air. The rich son wouldn't be kind in his pursuits. As they settled back into silence, Ellie realized just how vulnerable they were. Minutes dragged like hours. The pounding rain seemed to drown out any sound of life outside their sanctuary. Then, faint and distant, she heard a low, mocking chuckle, a taunting sound that sliced through her resolve. It flickered on the edges of her consciousness like a ghost. Ellie? The girl's voice broke through the dark fog. What were we gonna do? In that moment, something primal awakened within Ellie. Fear melded with a fierce spark of defiance. We're going to fight back, she said, determination propelling her words. We can't let him turn us into ghosts. Suddenly, the door rattled violently, sending a shock wave through each of them. Fear morphed into adrenaline as the latch held firm, but they all knew it wouldn't hold forever. Stay ready. Ellie barked, her heart hammering at the impending threat. They faced the door, bracing themselves, knowing it was about to be tested. With an explosive force, the door slammed against the wall, and there he stood, the rich son, eyes gleaming with fury, and a wicked smile stretching across his face. In that instant, Ellie realized the fight was just beginning. What had they unleashed, and would they survive the storm within? In the suffocating darkness of the warehouse, the air burned with a mix of fear and determination. Ellie's heart hammered in her chest, every beat a reminder of the very real danger staring back at her from the doorway. The rich son's figure loomed, framed by the shadows, his twisted smile revealing more than just anger. It was delight at the chaos he had orchestrated. Look what we have here, he murmured, stepping into the weak pool of light cast by the flickering bulb. 3 little mice, trapped in a corner. How fitting. His voice dripped with a condescension that only served to fuel Ellie's resolve. Behind her, the old man and the girl stood tense, their bodies coiled like springs, ready to lash out or flee. We're not afraid of you. Ellie shouted, her voice shaking but firm, trying to inject strength into the moment. That a low laugh escaped him, echoing off the cold walls. Oh, I think you should be. You see, this isn't just about revenge anymore. This is about lessons. He stepped forward again, knife glinting as if it had a life of its own. And you, dear Ellie, are about to learn the hardest one of all. Don't. The old man stepped forward, his voice cracking, now bearing the weight of years lost and battles fought. Those days are over. We don't need to play your game anymore. Game? This is no game. It's survival. He gestured toward the door behind him, where a storm still raged outside, but the darkness had transformed into a palpable menace now looming within. And you're not in control here. Ellie felt a flicker of panic at his words but refused to let it ignite into fear. You think you can scare us into submission? We're stronger than you think. She took a step forward, channeling every bit of courage she could summon, and that when she made her gamble. You're a coward hiding behind your privilege. You need to hurt others to feel powerful because deep down, you're scared of being nothing. For a moment, the rich son's confidence faltered. Ellie seized it, pressing on. Reveal who you really are. You thrive on fear because you have no actual strength. His expression shifted, and in that instant, Ellie caught a glimpse of uncertainty beneath his bravado. You don't know me, he hissed, desperate to reclaim control. Then show us. We'll stand up together. Ellie shouted. With renewed energy shared among the trio, the old man, the girl, and Ellie turned to face him, ready to fight back, ready for the storm within to match the one outside. What's it going to be? The girl challenged, raising her chin defiantly. You want power? You'll have to take it from us. A shattering silence followed, and then his laughter erupted, breaking the tension with a cruel edge. Fine. Let us see how long your bravery lasts when the knife finds its mark. He lunged, suddenly, chaos enveloped them as the world exploded into motion. The old man bolted sideways, brandishing his weapon, while Ellie's adrenaline spiked. "Now!" she cried, catching the girl's eye. They surged together, a united front against the impending threat. As if rehearsed, they closed ranks, isolating the rich sun. The echo of their resolve drowned out the rain. The old man fired towards the floor just as the rich sun swung, missing narrowly. The bullet ricocheted off the damp concrete, shattering the last remnants of complacency. "Ellie, the door!" The girl yelled, and Ellie darted to the entrance, panic surging anew. She knew they needed an exit, a path through this storm of fury. The rich sun was momentarily distracted, a scowl of rage splitting his face. Ellie tugged on the heavy door, adrenaline fueling her strength. "We need to run," she shouted, but just as freedom seemed within reach, the rich sun lunged once more, narrowly missing her as she flung herself free. They barreled out into the rain-soaked night, stumbling onto slick pavement, hearts racing as the chaos of emotions unspooled around them. The storm roared overhead, thunder echoing like a warning. "Keep moving. Don't look back," the old man shouted, and they sprinted down the alley, the rain soaking them to the bone. Behind them, the rich sun's furious voice rang out, but they didn't stop to listen. "Where to?" the girl gasped, catching her breath. "We can't outrun him forever. Trust me. We can't run from this. There's a place." The old man's voice was firm as he led them through the dark streets, down alleys intertwined like veins, pulsing with the thrill of danger. "We need to face him, it's the only way to end this." Despite Ellie's racing heart, she felt something shift within her, an unyielding strength rising from the ashes of fear. It was no longer about survival, it was about reclaiming their own power. As they ran, lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the path ahead like a spotlight on their fate. They ducked into a small diner, long since closed for the night but filled with memories of warmth and laughter. "What now?" the girl asked breathlessly. "We end this," Ellie replied, looking deeply into the eyes of her companions. Together. With the storm raging outside, they made their final stand. This was not just a battle against the rich sun, it was a war against the shadows of fear that had threatened to consume all of them. "Let us show him the power of unity," Ellie said, her voice pushing the weight of determination. And as the diner door creaked open, revealing the storm beyond, Ellie knew her moment was here. It was time not just to survive but to thrive, to become a light piercing through the night. In that instant of defiance, Ellie felt the storm shift, and with it, every ounce of fear igniting into a flame of resolve. They stood together, ready for whatever would come next, even if it meant facing the darkness head-on. And then the rich sun emerged, fury and desperation painted across his face. Little did he know that the shadows he ruled were now being confronted by a light that was unwavering. With courage blossoming in their chests, they readied themselves for the fight of their lives. As the storm raged outside, so too did the tempest of emotions within them. This was how they would discover what it truly meant to fight back. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this electrifying conclusion. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how this thrilling saga wraps up. You need to be part of our growing community. Let your voice be heard.